So you want to tone up without building muscle, right? So that's pretty complicated. And the reason why that notion or that goal is pretty complicated is because you can't. Toning up and building muscle are two exactly the same things, portrayed as different terms, directed at two completely different demographics. You cannot tone up without building muscle, and you cannot build muscle without toning up, because they mean the exact same thing. They can be used completely interchangeably. The reason why they're two different terms but mean the same thing is because as follows. If you go up to Sally, relatively new to the gym, relatively new to fitness, wants to tone up and ultimately transform her body a little bit, but she has no experience with weight training, no experience with the gym, no experience with fitness whatsoever, and you say to her, so you want to build muscle. I guarantee the first thing that comes into her head is pictures of Arnold Schwarzenegger, Ronnie Coleman, or any kind of golden era bodybuilder screaming in a Gold's Gym, wearing a tight vest, juiced to the gills on steroids, looking like walking clouds.
Yeah, buddy! Woo! Hey, big baby! Yeah! Yeah, buddy!
Now, that is not what Sally wants. Sally doesn't want to look like Ronnie Coleman or peak Arnold Schwarzenegger. She just wants to see a little bit of definition in her arms, probably wants to grow her arse a little bit, and wants to see a little bit of athleticism in her legs, which is completely understandable. But the thing is, in order to put on that definition, in order to obviously get her arse growing a little bit bigger, in order to see some athleticism in her legs, she needs to build muscle. Not as much as Arnold Schwarzenegger and Ronnie Coleman, that just won't happen, but the instant thought process that's going through her head will remain constant. That's why if you say to her, oh yeah, you want to tone up, it kind of sounds a little bit better, because what will go through her head potentially then is the thought of just definition, athleticism, or that nice lean muscle which you see on a lot of fitness influencers that you're probably looking up to. I cringe when I said lean muscle, because there's no such thing as unlean muscle. Muscle is lean, that's the idea. Now, if I say to you, you want to put on muscle, you need to put on muscle in order to get a bigger bum or to get definition in your arms, you're probably going to be a little bit scared, because you're probably going to be thinking, oh no, I don't want to get too big, I don't want to get too bulky, which is a common fear that goes through a lot of people's heads when I say that. But the thing is, being scared to put on muscle because you do not want to be too bulky is kind of like me being scared to cook because I don't want to be Gordon Ramsay, or me being scared to swim because I don't want to be Michael Phelps. Putting on that much muscle and putting on that much bulk and being too big requires years and years and years and years of specific training, specific eating, dedication, and sometimes a sprinkle of other substances. You are not going to be too bulky, you are not going to be too big unless you actually want to be that big. And even then, there's still a chance that you won't, because being that bulky and being that big is determined a lot by genetics as well. So not only do you have to train for years and years and years and years and have unrivaled dedication, discipline and motivation to do it, not only do you potentially have to start taking juice, but you also have to be born with top 0.1% genetics. Now, the likelihood of all them accumulating into one is going to be pretty low, especially for the general population. So you are not going to be too big. You are not going to get too bulky. You will achieve whatever results you want to achieve. But you need to start understanding that toning up and building muscle mean the same thing, and you're going to achieve both doing the same thing. Resistance training, weight training, strength training, whatever you want to call it. You need to go and lift weights to get into that athletic physique which you're obviously craving, to start being confident with your own body, to highlight your figure, to highlight your curves, to see that definition in your arms, in your legs, in your arse, wherever it is that you want to see it. You need to build muscle to get to that point. You need to tone up to get to that point. Doesn't matter which way you fuck it, those two terms mean the same thing, and you need to be not scared of either. If you like this video, feel free to give it a like. If you've got any questions, feel free to comment below. I'd be more than happy to answer. If you want to catch the next one, please subscribe. And if you want any free fitness or fat loss content, feel free to follow my Instagram at k.p_health. Have a good one.